And again, the as we will also talk about it, the Super Cup, which is going on alongside this tournament. I don't know what the need for that is when our main players are playing. Probably, I don't know, maybe it's just that they could not adjust those fixtures anywhere else. But just one thing that I noticed from the Super Cup point is that Kerala Blasters Jackson Singh, he was before the Asia Cup squad was announced, he was said to be injured and he was not included in the squad. But he was in Kerala Blasters squad for their opening Super Cup game, which happened around a couple of days or 3 to 4 days back. He was on the bench. He did not play, but he will eventually play. So my question, or the first thing that came into my head, was that even if he was injured at that time, or even if Stimac did not want to take the risk of including him and probably take a fitter player, why, why did this happen that he is in that, like, he is playing for Kerala Blasters and not for the Indian team, when in fact he could be on the bench, or he could be in the playing 11 supporting the country. And if he knew that the injury is pretty much not that serious, or even if the team knew, then he could have been included in the 18-man squad and kept on the bench like Samad was yesterday, and then could have had a key role in the games against Syria or Uzbekistan, probably not against Australia, but later on in the competition to help us progress. So
Yeah.
that is another thing which I did not understand about the Super Cup, because I mean, this might also bring unnecessary hate on these kind of players. I mean, we are not here criticizing why he did not come. It's just a thought that comes into our head. But the media or other people who just look at it from this point of view, it might bring on unnecessary hate on these players as well. So again, as you might talk about it a bit more in detail, but I just think it's pointless, because when other countries play their important competitions, like something like on this stage, or even for the World Cup or something like that,
Yeah, the
the
Asian Cup is like the
importance
Euros,
to
right?
these
Euros
domestic
for
nations are
the
not given. Oh, sorry.
Asian Cup is exactly like Euros in Europe, and they
Yeah,
don't have
exactly.
anything running
Exactly.
while that's going on.
Exactly.
So, even talking about preparation, then I would say that we are a bit lucky that Australia were our first game, because then that prepares us for Uzbekistan and Syria, where we have a better chance of having those points. And it's such a big disappointment that Indian football, still the authorities, whoever it is, they still think as though, how our schools think, like, okay, these are the activities that we have to have in the year, so just adjust them somehow. I remember that in my school, there was a sports day. We ran the first half of the sports day in 1 month, and then next, the finals and the medal ceremony, the finals were taken like 2-3 months later, just because they didn't have space for it. So, like, I think that's the same mentality. Okay, you have a break, you don't have ISL, we can't take ISL, like, go forward with the cup, which should be really interesting, right? Because I League and ISL clubs both compete in that cup, so you should actually be quite interested. You should have the separate window for it. And I can understand that why ISL is reluctant to run weekly, on a weekly basis, because then the clubs have to pay those players more, because the league will run for 8-9 months. Because in if you give a 4 week break, and let's say like a Asian Cup tournament runs for another month, that means that you're kind of losing 8 match days, right? 8 match days. But if you take 4 weeks and a month from current ISL calendar, you kind of finish off 90% of the tournament. So you can't really give that. So that's where I think we have to somehow figure that out, because we can't run our own model in a model that is run by the world. In cricket, that's fine, because we there's no model in cricket. You It's international cricket. You can run your league on separately whenever you want, but in football, that's not the case. So I think that needs to be figured out, because otherwise there's not going to be progress. And that's why usually Euros and World Cup are between the seasons. I don't know why Asian Cup is always held in between the ongoing season. That's also one case. I mean, we're blaming the clubs and the tournaments, but if you look at Euros and the World Cup, they always happen in this June July window, right?
But in the World Cup also, the
So
last World Cup happened in
yeah,
December,
that was
November,
because of
December, I
COVID.
think.
Yeah, because of COVID, everything has
Yeah,
almost like shifted. And maybe perhaps, yeah, I know
yeah.
that maybe they won't get the dates also because World Cup will be there and other things. But I think the Asian Cup AFC should also look at that. I mean, why stop the leagues like in between and then have a big tournament? That's also one thing. And then on the other side, yeah, ISL needs to figure out how they can run an entire league for 8 9 months. I know that that's not possible right now because the clubs have to pay the players that much, which I think it's just not possible. Because even last time I said, right, Mumbai City FC's overall players worth is 40 crores and CSK is 74 crores. So it's not a big difference, but there's such a big difference in revenue, so they can't do anything.